Hey, welcome to the Full Circle Network. I'm your host, Marcos Melendez, and today I'll be reviewing a Stargirl episode 11 titled Shining Night. And as you can probably tell, I'll be alone. Most of the crew hadn't seen the episode yet, so I'll be diving in by myself. But that should be okay. It should be a slightly shorter review than usual, but I'll be a little bit more focused and just get into the major points of the episode. But yeah, as always, we'll be going deep into spoilers, so yeah, if you haven't watched the episode, go back, pause this, or leave it playing and just mute it, so we get some watch time and then watch the episode, and then come back, rewind this video, then listen to me, because that'll help our watch time. Other than that, just watch the episode. It was great. Before I get into it, though, I do want to say some of my general thoughts with the last episode, especially where I left off. I think that Brainwave Jr.'s death, which was kind of like the big turning point in the season, is followed up pretty well here. And although we don't get too much of the blowback from the crew itself, from the GSA crew, we do see a lot of Courtney Whitmore's perspective of things. I do think that especially with that kind of almost depressing ending last week, and then this week kind of follows up on that quite well. I do think that is this episode's strongest suit, despite the fact that it's kind of like this big setup for the two-part finale. I do think that it does a really good job of following up that big death and Courtney Whitmore's story. But diving into it, though, the episode is titled Shining Night, and this is something I wanted to point out just in the very beginning here, mainly because I think even though it's called Shining Night, the moments that he's in the episode are probably my least favorite, just because I feel like it kind of broke the pacing of things, and I do think sometimes their approach to the character was a little weird, and I wasn't entirely into it. Just to get into a little bit more, though, I think that as soon as they opened, I was really interested in his view of stuff and how he apparently forgot his memories. By far, I think this as soon as it opened, I thought it was one of the most interesting moments from him so far from the series. But then we get a little deeper, and then he interacts with Pat, meets him for the first time in a while, and I thought the scene's a little weird. He views Pat as Dragon King, and the JSA members as the Dragon King goons. And I thought, although the scene itself was quite good, I think I think I like the idea more than the execution, is what I'm trying to say. And I think that just the part where he kind of sees Pat heaven or whatever as this shining light to guide him, it was kind of just a weird moment. And I think including the scene with their Dragon King, it was just a weird vibe. It wasn't bad per se, but I definitely wasn't my favorite part of the episode. And I will say that for an episode titled Shining Night, although it does open with Shining Night, we do get some of those big scenes in the first half. I do think that this is mainly a Courtney Whitmore episode and her story with her father, which I think is the biggest point of the episode. Her father returns out of nowhere. This was all kind of expected. I think everyone knew that Starman was going to end up actually being her father. I thought it was pretty obvious, especially in the last episode. But yeah, he comes out. His name's Sam Curtis. For those not familiar, I believe in the comics he was a kind of a low-level villain. Whether or not this is going to come to fruition here, we'll see. But yeah, I did get hints of it, but I was kind of surprised it didn't delve into that. He just pop out of nowhere, kind of just to greet Courtney and the family. He has a few weird scenes, a few weird moments with Barbara. It was kind of weird. I didn't believe for a second there were a couple, but that was okay, because I did like his stuff with Courtney, them getting breakfast, and then of course I kind of like that sob story of how he's kind of just messed up all these years, and he wants to come back and make up for it. This it's very a cliche, but it did work for me. I was definitely falling into that, and I was like, okay, I was actually really caring for the guy and his relationship with Courtney. But of course, as these things go, you do expect a twist. That twist came in by the end, and when you realize something that's mentioned a lot throughout the episode is Courtney's necklace, and how that was something that Sam Curtis had given her. And then at the very end, he's like, yeah, I need the necklace for money. his intentions the entire time become really clear. And I thought it was a pretty heartbreaking moment. And like the fact that like this entire time she's been waiting for her dad, and she's expected to be Starman, but it's really this random guy who's really not that good at all. And although the actor's a little weird, obviously they're trying to get someone that kind of looked like Starman, which is a very odd choice, very weird plot device to kind of make it look like Starman so that the mother would be confused. I don't know why they did it, but sure. I bought it just enough. And yeah, I thought the actor was fine. A little weird once again. I did like the scene where he kind of just leaves Courtney, and it was pretty heartbreaking. I do think this is probably Brett Bassinger's best episode. I think she falls into the role really well here, and especially when she kind of goes into the house, realizing that her dad is really the one that's been taking care of her in the past few years is really Pat. I do think that was like probably the strongest moment in the episode, and then, or the second strongest moment, because right after that we get to the part where she goes to the staff when she finds out Brainwave remembers everything, remembers that she's Courtney, about the family and everything. So, and then she goes to the staff, of course, as she literally always does in every episode. Doesn't even think, she just goes to fight, grabs it, and it doesn't work, of course. And I thought this was like kind of like the perfect almost like ending to this episode if they had ended there. I thought that we kind of get this somber vibe throughout, and I think if they had ended on this vibe right here when she picks up the staff, and obviously it doesn't work for her because she feels like the fact that the staff now knows she isn't Starman's daughter, she isn't worthy of it. And of course that's not the case. They kind of like literally 10 minutes later, or like 5 minutes later, they kind of like come to the realization, especially through Pat, that the staff didn't choose her because she was some legacy person connected to Starman directly. It was someone that deserved to have the staff, or at least was destined to have it. And although that was pretty obvious, I was surprised that it kind of came in like literally 5 minutes later. It could have used a little bit more time, maybe even wait until the next episode. But I did really like the moment when she picks up the staff and with her family, and she kind of like accepts the fact that like that's her family now, and she's like she deserves the staff not because she's the daughter of Starman, but just because she's a hero. I thought that was probably one of the strongest moments of the episode, and one of the strongest moments of the series so far. Although it came in a little quick right after she failed to use it, I do think that it was a really big turning point in the series in terms of the seriousness of the story. And I feel like all the wholesomeness we've had so far has kind of been down the last two episodes, but this ending kind of like lifted that back up with the staff, and I feel like there's a lot of hope now, even though by the very end it's clear that Icicle and Brainwave want to kill Courtney and her family, which is going to be very exciting next episode. I'm very hyped for, because I do feel like this is like the best way to end, especially after the kind of a low-key depressing episode. And then you have that really sad ending from last week, and the fact, okay, she finally has a staff, she uses it, and now her path is much more clear. And I feel like I'll be able to kind of connect with Courtney a little bit more, which is always good. Other than that, I do want to talk about Pat. I think Pat's probably the best he's been in so far in the series, and I feel like he's doing a little too much. I think they stretched him thin in this episode. But besides that, I think that his performance is probably better than ever, and I do think that the character is super strong. I was actually even surprised when he ended up punching Sam Curtis, and I feel like he's kind of finally getting to that confident role of being that stepfather to Courtney, and being as well just a superhero and like a leader to the new GSA. More of a mentor really, but I feel like in conjunction with Courtney, he kind of like falls into his role. And I think it was a perfect way to end like a penultimate episode to a finale, to like a 2-part finale. And I do think that despite the fact we don't get any action, it's a very somber, kind of depressing episode until the very end. think that is the perfect way to kind of lead up to like a big exciting finale. And we've heard quite a few things about the next 2 episodes that seems very exciting, and I do think it's going to be worth the wait, especially after the last few episodes. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Look, it's shorter review, but although a lot did happen this episode, a lot also didn't. We only progressed Courtney and Pat, a little bit of Shiny Knight, but I was kind of surprised we didn't get more Shiny Knight. Although I was kind of lukewarm on his stuff, I was really expecting something from him at the end, maybe even using a sword or something. I was expecting a little bit of a comeback for him, or at the very least realizing his identity as Shiny Knight. But we got what we got, and I'm fully expecting that we'll get the next episode or 2. But I just you think with the episode title Shiny Knight would focus a little bit more on him, but I'm still a little lukewarm, but it's fine for now. And I do think that the best parts of the episode are by far Courtney's story and Pat. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Shorter review. We don't have anyone else that's on this week, but I feel like we'd all have the same opinion. And it's a very solid episode. This is just a perfect penultimate chapter to like a big 2-parter, and that we'll see next week. And especially after that really exciting ending, that doesn't really bode well for Courtney's family at all. I do want to see more action. I want to see the ISA kind of like do something finally and get a head start and stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I do hope that next week we'll get something more from Mike. I feel like although he does have a really good scene in this episode, I want to see him do a little bit more. Although I didn't like the character at first, I do want to see him do something a little bit more to kind of redeem him in the eyes of as a viewer that didn't really care for him. I do want to see him do something, especially since the ISA will be coming after him. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And yeah, that's it for the review. You can follow us at Full Circle CNA on Twitter. You can follow me at BusyGamer9 on my personal Twitter. And you can follow at Common Corner _ It's a very special page. It's not affiliated with Full Circle Cinema, but it's a great page nonetheless. And of course, you can visit FullCircleCinema.com for the latest news, updates, whatnot, reviews. You never know what we're going to post. We've posted a few Stargirl stories recently, a few Titan stuff. Hopefully maybe we'll talk about that stuff in the finale. We've heard some things, so be sure to watch the next few reviews. Yeah, like, subscribe, share, please. Maybe rewind the review, give us some watch time, let it play in the background. You don't even have to listen to it, put it on mute. It'll help put more content out like this and more consistently. But yeah, that's it. See ya.